This is a story about Vincent Hugh Clarkin, underpaid high school teacher, Peekskill, New York. Over the years, Clarkin has been heard to complain about the union, that it never won for teachers the kind of pay increases they deserved. Clarkin never defined what he meant by deserve, but if a mode of transportation is any indicator, his standards for what they deserved must have been pretty high. Clarkin, wearing a Brooks Brothers suit and Muammar Gaddafi sandals, emerged from his limo without his usual $4 Cuban cigar in hand, obviously aware our cameras would record his every move. This was the final day of a long and lucrative career. Clarkin, while earning the immediate respect of his students with his free and easygoing style, sometimes found administrators anxiously affixing ropes to available hanging trees. But money changed all that. The number of his Swiss bank accounts is unclear. What is known is that Ferdinand Marcos, late of the Philippines, dropped him a note asking for a loan. Instead, Clarkin sent Imelda a pair of shoes. You guessed it, used sandals. You may have surmised he's tight with a dollar, to the point that he would bake his own bread just to save a couple of cents a loaf. He claimed to be baking it for the poor, an excuse no one who has ever met him believes. A number of those who know this secret multi-billionaire now will attempt to put his career and character into perspective. We searched hard for a teacher who is a Phil Donahue look-alike.
Hello, folks. Today's program is going to be a little different than the ones we usually have. We didn't have any other better ideas. I came across this strange picture back here. And what we're going to do is try to find out who that strange fellow with that unique hairdo is today. To my left, we have someone who can provide us with some interesting information about the person in this picture. Jim Olsen. Jim, would you like to tell us a little bit about who this guy is?
Well, one thing that stands out in my mind is his checks never bounce. Because years ago, when I first met Vinny, I did some work at his house. He said, Jim, he says, can you hold the check? He says, I can give you the check. He says, but please don't cash it till payday. And I'm wondering if I can cash it now since he's retiring, because I still have it for 15 years.
I think you better cash it fast.
Think so?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't waste any time.
Excuse me, I have to go to the bank.
Well, just how did you get these checks, Jim?
By doing work around his house. You know, he lived up there on Mortgage Hill. And he had a lot of work to do because he bought the house for nothing, probably.
Well, he's the type of guy, he's always running around, isn't he? Just never has time to do anything around the house.
Well, that's right, yeah. Well, he shovels dirt and all that, but no carpentry work.
Terrible, terrible.
Well, a school teacher, you know.
Well, you can't expect much from those school teacher types, you know. That's why we have excellence in education.
They don't like to get their hands dirty.
Yeah. They're too busy filling out lesson plans and things like that.
Yes.
Can you think of anything else you want to tell us about this strange character?
Oh, I'll keep thinking. You go on to Paula.
I've had that same problem. I can't think of too much here. Paula, rumor has it you knew this fellow a long time ago. Has he changed much?
As a matter of fact, I recognized him by that 20-year-old picture. It's got to be 20 years old.
Well,
When was it drawn?
the style, they tell me, is coming back in a little bit.
Well, he was just so lucky that he thought it never went out. But that is exactly how Vincent Clarkin looked 20 years ago. And I wonder, is that the same pencil? It may be the same. The glasses are the same. The hairdo, I bet it's the same shirt.
I've seen that shirt many times. Yes, that could very well be the same.
The smile is the same.
That's the one redeeming feature, that smile, I think.
Always a smile. That's Vincent Clarkin was my teacher. I was his student, one of many students, when he first came to Peekskill High just about 20 years ago.
Oh, it's got to be longer than that.
I won't admit to any longer than that.
Very smart lady.
Well, whatever I know in the field of English, I can say, thank you, Vincent Clarkin. Something you said before, Jim, kind of sparked a memory. You said that he's always digging in the dirt, but he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. Well, I can remember you going into English class, and you would think, well, this has got to be a real clean class. Well, it wasn't always, and we always came out of there with dirty hands. Mr. Clarkin had a love of getting students to read newspapers. Well, we read newspapers every morning, and I can remember there wasn't enough time between the time the bell rang in the next class to go and wash our dirty hands from all the newspaper print. And Vincent Clark and I resented that. But I will tell you something else. We're not here to bury Caesar, we're here to honor him. He might have buried us under an avalanche of newspaper, but we're here to praise him a little bit today.
Oh, just a little bit,
Right.
not too much.
We did some Shakespeare. Don't ask me what play we did. I believe it was Julius Caesar. But that's not what I remember so well from that class. I remember the newspaper experience, which really served me well in later life, and the 5 W's. I have one more, Vincent Clarkin, that I could have said to you every morning in 1962 and 1963. The 6th W was, who cares? He had a great sense of humor, even though some of the jokes were geared his way. But it was all in all, it was a great time. And I would have to say that it was one of the best experiences of my educational life. And he was a clear and concise, poignant and powerful person, and made an impact on a lot of us.
Now, when I look at that face, the word that comes to me is pun. Not clear, not concise, not poignant, but pun.
Pun, yeah. He
Definitely a
told us
punster.
Definitely.
No doubt about that. Jim, what are some of the jobs you've had to do around there while this Clarkin guy was running around?
Well, I put up some ceilings in the bedrooms, in the dining area, in the kitchen. And also I've put up some paneling, I think, and I finished some rooms down the basement for the boys because he wouldn't let them sleep upstairs. He let the girls, I don't know why. Maybe his wife had something to do with that.
That might be, yes.
You know, in my house, the girls are downstairs and the boys are up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has long been the policy of this show to grant spokespeople with opposing views the opportunity to have their voices heard. We do not mean to imply by this that we agree with the statements they make. In fact, in this particular case, we seriously doubt whether sane, responsible people would agree with that point of view.
Mr. Clarkin doesn't fit into the curriculum at the high school. He's not a real teacher. He's got what Bradley would call a tragic flaw. You see, he has creativity. And we don't allow creativity in the high school. And the Regents examinations, Mr. Clarkin. Why don't you prepare your students for the Regents examinations? Do you feel they're not capable? Do you think maybe it's you that aren't capable, Mr. Clarkin? And the cut notices, Mr. Clarkin, well, the cut notices, they have to be sent out. When students are delinquent, the parents must know. We have to notify them. Creativity, Mr. Clarkin. Mr. Clarkin, what is creativity? Are you creativity? I don't think so, Mr. Clarkin. You're just not a very good teacher. Mr. Clarkin, where are those folders, Mr. Clarkin? I've been bugging you for these folders now. You're now at department meetings. Departmental meetings are majorly important. You do not come to them. Don't you understand, Mr. Clarkin, the importance of the departmental meetings? Non-Regent students are of no importance. The honor students, the AP students, they are the ones that are allowed to be a bit creative. Mr. Clarkin, you disgust me.
I think that our next guest, when he arrives, is going to talk about another strange habit that this Clarkin fellow has. He likes to run around town wearing sandals. We're continuing our search to find out a little bit something about this character. So far, We know he has a strange hairdo, which may or may not be coming back into style. We've heard that he's a punster. He's clear, concise. But the key to the mystery seems to be in this strange tribe that he belongs to. You may have seen some of them around the streets of Peekskill or its environs. These people run at all hours, logging mile upon mile. We have with us two members of that tribe who are going to tell us a little bit about this character here. One of them is the guru of local runners, Jack Burns.
As a matter of fact, we've run with Vinny many times. If you don't watch Vinny will turn right when you're supposed to turn left. He had
No sense of direction.
Terrible sense of direction. And his is, as you can see, not a hell of a lot better.
Well, he had that same problem here. They had to keep changing his classroom until they found one that he could find.
Well, Vinny, however, in all seriousness, we tease Vinny a lot, and he's an awful lot of fun to run with. Really.
Yeah, he is.
He's got all kinds of jokes, and as you know, the great puns, and he's really fun. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a pun. Not really a pun, but we were running out by the Croton Egg Farm in one of our long runs, and a whole bunch of us there. And this very pretty girl came by on a very handsome horse. And I said, gee, that's a handsome animal. And Vinny says, that horse ain't bad looking either. Yeah, he and I were once running up on, we were doing a 17-miler, coming back down 9D north of the Bear Mountain Bridge. And Vinny and I were running together, side by side, and this car came along and nearly hit Vinny.
As I said, they are a strange breed, these runners.
Well, the rest of the world is strange.
But we have learned one more quality. Definitely Vinny is tenacious.
He's really tenacious. Really
I can
is.
think of one story about this running that is very important, to me at least. I've been able to avoid for a good 7 or 8 years having to do any of this tough physical exercise you fellows do, because I get my exercise vicariously by Vinny. I ask him in the morning how many miles we've run, and I'll tell you, when he tells me we've gotten in 15 or so, I feel so much better the rest of the day.
Well, you know,
And then I do the vices for him. It seems to be a good arrangement.
he's got his share of vices. There are those mornings when he's been out wine testing.
Wine testing, right.
He's gone out to these wine testing parties, he and his wife. There are those mornings when the carbon dioxide level is high in his blood, and he's not really too happy at it. I bring greetings from a couple of my kids who Vince taught, my son Paul, who admonished me to make sure that we got everything on film, and from Martha, who made a movie with Vince called, it was about her doll anyway. They did a stop film thing that was just terrific. A Living Doll was the name of the film. She has it. It's one of her treasures. And we appreciate all that Vince did for our kids and everybody else's kids. That's in addition to being a runner.
Okay, so we've learned a few things about this Clarkin fellow. We know he's a punster. We know that he's done a very good job of teaching. There's really one other thing that I do want to mention. Many years ago, his department chairman told him he should leave education and earn some money. Unfortunately, Vinny misinterpreted that, and he decided that what she meant was that he should start making dough. And since that time, of course, he's become famous for his cheese bread. I mean, this cheese bread you find all over the place. Ossining, up north, Peekskill. People are knocking down the door to get this cheese bread. Rumor even has it that Vinny is finally going to move into that big money after he leaves teaching and become a baker.
The whole week's pretty good.
As we bid farewell to teacher Vincent Hugh Clarkin, know that thousands of the minds he enlightened are now helping to guide the world. A few of them later disassembled this stretch limo, which was found on the Cross Bronx Expressway on blocks. Thanks, Vinny.